Hello everyone, in the last video we have visited the haunted Shadowfang Keep and took a look at the history of the place. And also we hinted who was the owner of the lands around the keep. The lord of the lands were none other than Lord Darius Crowley, who was called many different names through his history. Lord Darius Crowley was once a great Gilneas nobleman. He was not like the other nobles in the city. Crowley was more concerned about his own people. He was young and new in the Gilnean Council of Lords, but despite that, Gilnean people loved him. His humanistic and charismatic qualities earned him respect and friendship of the king Greymane. During the First War, Crowley was also one of the nobles that accompanied Greymane to capital city to hear of Stormwind's fall and Anduin Lothar warning them about the invading Orcish horde. At the meeting, Crowley was also sympathetic towards the Alliance and their plight. He wanted to give the Alliance resources and soldiers they needed to defeat the Orcish horde. Along with Crowley, there was also other nobles. One of them was Lord Vincent Godfrey. Godfrey convinced Ken Greymane to only send small token support against the protest of Crowley, but King Greymane listened more to Godfrey. Godfrey didn't care about the alliance, he only cared about the way this would cause Gilneas, insisted on the small support to keep the trading routes open. As the Orcish horde was defeated, the alliance asked for money to rebuild the destroyed cities. Gen, on the other hand, did not want to pay any amount, as this would require a lot of money. Greymane questioned the wisdom of listening to Crowley or Godfrey, stating it had gotten them nothing but dead Gilneas. Gen told Godfrey about his plans to withdraw from the Alliance and wall off Gilneas from the rest of the world. Upon looking at the map of Gilneas, Greymane and Godfrey had in front of them, Godfrey suggested the wall to be built through Crowley's land, even when Gen's original plan was to build wall through Lord Marley's land. Gen had thought that Godfrey suggested this because of the mountainous region which formed natural and impenetrable barrier. But Godfrey had different plans. He wanted to cut the rising voice of Crowley, which would ruin his own agenda. With this, King gave order to build a wall cutting through Crowley's lands. This wall cut off Pyroot and Embermill villages from the rest of the kingdom to care for themselves. Greymane was confident that Crowley would understand his reasoning, but sadly, Crowley did not share the same understanding. Years later, Gilneas left the Alliance. When Gen began the construction of the Greymane wall, Crowley opposed the decision of the king to abandon his own people. Crowley retaliated against the king's decision to abandon the Alliance. Following this, it was Crowley who sent the Gilneas Crowley retaliated against the king's decision to abandon the alliance. Following this, it was Crowley who sent the Gilneas brigade to aid Jaina Proudmoore during the Third War. Gen tried to reason with Crowley, hoping to convince him that the wall was way forward and to explain why assisting alliance was wrong. This only fueled tension between the king and Crowley. In the end, this tension boiled as Pyroot and Embermill were attacked by the Scourge. The attack on the village was the last straw for the Darius Crowley. He swore to end the king's tyranny. This decision to stop the king started all-out civil war in Gilneas. Citizens who had the same feeling as Crowley joined him in Northgate rebellion. This split and weakened the kingdom into two groups: loyalists who still stood with the king and rebels who sided with Crowley. But in the end, Northgate rebellion was unable to overpower the king's resistance. Crowley, alongside with other rebels, were imprisoned for treason and was held at the Stonewall prison. This civil war caused more damage to the kingdom and its citizens, but Gilneas had no time to heal from these wounds. There were sightings of wolfmen around the kingdom. King ordered a curfew, but of course this did not help. Alfred Ramsey investigated the murders of Starlight Thresher, but then Ramsey disappeared after he pursued suspect to the Black Vault, where one of the suspects turned into Worgen and attacked him. This was 4 days before the Worgen attacked the Gilneas city. The Worgen were following the orders of their leader, Alpha Prime. Shortly before the attack, Gen was thinking about granting Crowley's amnesty. As the capital of Gilneas was attacked by Worgen, we were helping others to escape the city. Between all the chaos, we meet the King Greymane in front of the Stonewall prison. In front of the Stonewall prison, Gen tasks us to help Crowley and free him from prison, despite Godfrey's protest to lead the traitor to be killed by the Worgen. After we free Crowley, we find out that the rebels had snuck a lot of weapons into the city without the king knowing. Even with the increased firepower, it is obvious that the city itself needs to be evacuated, and we are asked to rescue a trapped citizen, the master alchemist Krenan. As we battle through the city, Crowley gives us a speech of a union against the Worgen. In order to divert the Worgen's attention from the fleeing citizen, Crowley led us and a group of brave Gilneans to stand against them at the Lightstone Cathedral, despite knowing this would mean our deaths.
Look at what you've become. Those cursed beasts. They've left you nothing more than just another wretched mongrel. Do you even remember what you did to your friends? Your kind, haunting the wilds unchecked, until we found you. They've kept you alive because they still believe you can be saved. To which I must ask, is there even a shred of humanity left within you? Perhaps we will find out soon enough.
After the battle, we awaken in a cage, and after the words from the King Greymane, Master Alchemist Aranas help us with his potions. But as we look around, there was no sign of Crowley. Crowley was saved and cured from the primal instincts. He and others were helped by Belisra and the other Night Elves in Tal'Daran. There, Crowley encountered Halford Ramsey. The loyalist Ramsey still saw Crowley as a traitor and launched at him. But Belisra quickly stopped them, reminding them the past did not matter anymore. They need to put it behind them to preserve the future of Gilneas. Together, they agreed and worked together, capturing the Fair Worgen in the woods of the Black Vault to help them be sane again and regain their humanity. Later, we encounter Belisra at Stormglade Village. There, she let us know the place we seek is not far away, but we can't go there yet, as we are followed by our enemy. After we defeat the Dark Ranger, we head to Tal'Daran, where we meet with Crowley and Belisra, who task us with reclaiming the stolen side of Elune from the hands of the Forsaken. Crowley was worried how his daughter would react to the news that her father had the Worgen curse. Despite Lorna seeing her father be a Worgen, she took it just fine, as she had thought that her father was dead. As the Forsaken invasion continued, King Greymane and Lord Godfrey traveled to Tal'Daran. There, they asked Crowley to help unite the Gilneas against the Forsaken, but Godfrey still held the rage against the Worgen, and because of this, Crowley was very hesitant to accept. But Greymane told Darius that he is not asking him as a king, but as an equal, and revealed that he too had succumbed to the Worgen curse, With this revelation, Crowley agreed to join Gen forces, along with the cursed Worgen. After this, we leave with the king the Tal'Doran. But later, Halford Ramsay, along with Lord Crowley and his Gilnean Worgen, followed Belisra Starbreeze in confronting Alpha Prime at Tal'Doran. There, Belisra tried to use the sight of a loon to seal away Alpha Prime and his wolf cult beneath Delarnir in the Emerald Dream. Before she could act, Forsaken Dark Ranger shot her in the arm. Belisra dropped aside because of this injury. Alpha Prime took this opportunity and signaled for the Forsaken to surround them. Alpha Prime then took the side and was about to finish off Belisra, but before he could do so, the spirit of a wolf, who was none other than Belisra's old lover, Arvel, came forth and killed the Alpha Prime. After the death of their leader, the wolf cult scattered, leaving the Forsaken alone against the Night Elves and Gilneans. Shortly after, Gen confessed to his people he is also affected by the Worgen curse, and surprisingly, Gilneas accepted him even with this curse. Following this, we travel to Emberstone Mine to free our people from the Forsaken, and begin the attack on the city following Greymane through Northgate. Darius also participated in the fight and we meet with him in front of the prison he was once held at and regroup our combined forces. As we cornered Sylvanas, Liam sacrificed himself to save his father from an arrow that was meant to kill him. Sylvanas fled the scene into the cathedral. We thought that we retook the city, but as we spied in cathedral, Sylvanas ordered the use of the Forsaken Blight. Following the use of the Forsaken Blight, we had to evacuate the city once again into the Keel Harbor. In the Keel Harbor, with the help of the Night Elves, we were able to escape the Gilneas city. But before we escaped, we, along with Darius Crowley, his daughter, the Master Alchemist, and the King, were present at Liam's funeral at Aderic's repose.
May the light bless the spirits of our ancestors, for they've chosen to allow my son to rest upon this holy ground. It is here, surrounded by the heroes and patriots of Gilneas, where he belongs.
You were a true man of the people, Liam. Unlike any royal I've ever met. We'll make them pay for this.
Gilneas will remember your courage forever, Liam.
We'll return, Liam. I swear this to you.
Darius and his daughter remained in the harbor and led organization of defenses against the invading horde. With Gilneas now in the enemy hands, Lord Crowley led the Gilneas Liberation Front against the Forsaken in Silverpine Forest with the help of a Bloodfang Pang and their leader Ivor Bloodfang. They offered their cursed blood to the people who saw being transformed into the Worgen as a lesser evil and became known as a Hillsbrand Worgen, which bolstered their numbers. The 7th Legion also joined after they used the submarine to pass enemy lines. The Alliance gained upper hand. But the agents of the Horde destroyed some of the reinforcement, and this allowed them to resurrect Lord Godfrey, who jumped off the cliff. Of course, no one was ever that the Godfrey was resurrected. With Godfrey's help, they captured Darius' daughter Lorna, while Crowley led the final push against the Forsaken into the Silverpine Forest. Sylvanas rode out to meet with Darius at the Greymane's wall, which was now shattered. She gave him two choices: the surrender of the Gilneas Liberation Front, or Lorna's death and resurrection as one of the Forsaken. Without hesitation, Darius agreed to surrender, greatly angering Ivor Bloodfang, who called Darius coward. Sylvanas allowed them to retreat to Gilneas and to leave the city. In the following years, we saw Crowley in very small number of occasions. He joined us along with Lorna at the Skyfire, where we, along with Greymane and Varian Vryn, led the attack for the Battle of the Broken Shore. Later, the Gilneas Brigade established the Grey Watch to secure Stormheim. In later days, he could be also seen in Stormwind Keep alongside Greymane, following the accepting of the quest a loyal audience. There, he was among the audience as we received the Grand Marshal Medal of Valor from Anduin Vryn. Crowley was later found captured by the Naga along with other warriors, where we later freed him. During the Fourth War, Crowley returned leading a renewed Gilnean army into the Hillsbrand occupied by the Forsaken after the Battle of Lordaeron. He had his targets set, the Sludge Fields, which were amassing undead to assault Gilneas. Later, King Greymane and Crowley was tasked to assault Orgrimmar's western gate, while Anduin Vryn and Varrock's southflank forces assaulted the main gates. But due to Maggora, which southflank challenges Sylvanas, they were informed to not assault the city, which they weren't happy about, as they hoped to take the revenge against the Horde for what they have done to them. With these words, that's all we know about the Lord Darius Crowley, a great nobleman who cares about others more than politics. Until the next video, see ya!